They came to Earth with confidence, born from 10,000 years of dominance. Across the known galaxy, the Galactic Council was not simply a government, it was a symbol of absolute authority. Entire civilizations rose and fell according to its decisions. Stars were divided by its maps, species were judged by its laws, and worlds that refused to obey were erased from history. For centuries, the Council believed that no force could challenge its supremacy. It had crushed ancient empires, conquered machine civilizations, and forced warrior species that had once terrified entire sectors to kneel before its throne. To them, humanity was merely another young species standing on the edge of a vast cosmic ocean, a primitive civilization that had reached the stars too quickly and without permission. Humans had only been among the galactic community for a few hundred years, and despite their rapid technological advancement, the Council viewed Earth as insignificant, a loud, emotional species that relied too much on passion and not enough on logic. They saw human compassion as weakness, human individuality as disorder, and humanity's refusal to bow to a superior power as arrogance. What the Council never understood was that everything they considered humanity's greatest flaw was actually the source of its unimaginable strength. The first contact between humanity and the Galactic Council had been peaceful. Human diplomats arrived with open hands, offering knowledge, trade, and cooperation. They believed that a galaxy filled with intelligent life could become a place of shared progress. But the Council had a different vision. They did not want equals. They wanted subjects. Every civilization that joined the Council had to surrender a portion of its sovereignty, accept military oversight, and follow ancient regulations written by species that had ruled for millennia. Many accepted these terms because they had no choice. The Council's fleets stretched across millions of worlds. Their weapons could ignite stars, and their armies were made of beings genetically engineered for war. But humanity was different. Earth had survived thousands of years of conflict, natural disasters, and near extinction. Humans had fought each other for resources, for ideals, for survival, and eventually learned from those mistakes. Their history was brutal, painful, and filled with tragedy, but it forged a species that could endure almost anything. When the Council demanded Earth surrender its independence and become a controlled territory, the human representatives gave a simple answer: no. That single word echoed throughout the halls of the Council's Grand Chamber like an act of rebellion. Alien delegates laughed. Some were offended. Others were genuinely shocked that a young civilization would dare reject an order that ancient empires had obeyed without question. The Council warned humanity that resistance would bring consequences. Earth would be economically isolated, its colonies would be seized, and its defenses would be dismantled. Yet humanity remained silent. There were no angry speeches, no desperate negotiations, and no visible preparations for war. From the Council's perspective, this silence was fear. They believed the humans had finally realized the impossible scale of the power standing against them. They could not have been more wrong. For decades, while the galaxy watched humanity expand, Earth had been building something in secret. Unlike older civilizations that focused on maintaining their power, humanity had dedicated itself to preparing for the day when diplomacy failed. Human scientists studied alien technologies, improved them, and created systems so advanced that even the oldest races could not understand them. Deep beneath Earth's oceans, hidden inside the moons of distant planets, and buried within artificial worlds beyond known space, humanity created factories that never stopped producing. They built fleets that did not appear on any galactic scanner, weapons that did not operate under traditional physics, and artificial intelligences designed not to replace humanity, but to fight beside it. Humanity had learned one lesson from its own history. Peace was precious because it was protected by the ability to defend it. The final mistake of the Galactic Council came on a day that would later be known across the universe as the Last Decree. Thousands of Council warships emerged near Earth's borders, darkening entire sectors of space. Their message was transmitted to every human colony and every inhabited world in the galaxy. The Council declared Earth an enemy of galactic order. Humanity had 1 hour to surrender all military assets, hand over its leadership, and accept permanent Council control. The Council expected fear. They expected riots. They expected a desperate attempt to negotiate. Instead, exactly 3 minutes after the ultimatum was delivered, every Council communication channel received the same message from Earth. You have threatened our home. Nothing else followed. Then the impossible happened. The Council's sensors began detecting objects appearing throughout their territory, not ships entering from hyperspace, not armies approaching their borders. They simply appeared. Millions of human vessels, hidden for generations inside the dark spaces between stars, activated simultaneously. They surrounded every major Council military base, every command station, every weapons facility, and every capital world at the exact same moment. Before the Council could issue orders, their fleets lost communication. Before their admirals could raise shields, their weapons went offline. Human technology had infiltrated every system they had ever created. The ancient networks that controlled their empire were suddenly no longer theirs. Panic spread through the Council chambers. For the first time in 10,000 years, the rulers of the galaxy experienced something they had forced countless others to feel: helplessness. The Council attempted to launch their ultimate weapons, devices capable of destroying entire solar systems. But the commands were rejected. Human artificial intelligences had rewritten their security codes years earlier without leaving a single trace. Their fleets attempted to retreat, only to find the fabric of space around them locked by human gravitational technology. The greatest military force ever assembled had become a collection of powerless monuments floating in silence. Then humanity gave them one final chance. The supreme human commander appeared before every screen across the galaxy. There was no anger in his voice, no celebration, no desire for revenge. For thousands of years, you ruled through fear. You believed power gave you the right to decide who could exist freely and who must kneel. You looked at humanity and saw a young species that needed to be controlled. You were correct about one thing. We are young. Our history is short compared to yours. But in that short time, we have survived every nightmare our universe could create. We crossed oceans with fragile ships. We walked on dead worlds beneath poisonous skies. We turned the energy of stars into tools. We fought monsters outside our world and the monsters within ourselves. We did not come to the stars to find masters. The Council demanded negotiations. They offered compromises. They promised reforms. But they had made their choice the moment they pointed weapons at Earth. Exactly 20 minutes after threatening humanity's home, the Galactic Council ceased to exist. Not through the destruction of planets or the extinction of species. Humanity did something far more terrifying. They erased the Council itself. Every military command was dismantled. Every artificial border they had enforced was removed. Every enslaved world under their control was freed. Their fleets were disarmed and transformed into guardians of the new Galactic Alliance. The species that had once bowed before the Council looked toward Earth with disbelief, not because humanity had won a war, but because humanity had ended an empire that everyone believed was eternal. Years later, young civilizations would ask their elders why no one had stopped the Galactic Council before humanity arrived. The answer was always the same: because we believed they were unstoppable. And why did humans succeed? A silence would follow, accompanied by a memory of the day the most powerful rulers in existence threatened a small blue world. Because the Council believed humanity would fear losing their home. The stars themselves became the witnesses to their greatest mistake. They never understood what humans are willing to become when someone threatens Earth.